But I think starting just at home, like my family was a big part of like who I am as a person, like shaping me to be the man that I am. My mom, my dad, and my dad was really big into basketball, so he's one of the first people that really pushed me into playing the game. So he's probably my biggest mentor, I'll say. And then along my journey, obviously my mom, she did everything behind the scenes. So growing up, I went to different schools. I had like coaches that my first basketball camp I went to was Lungba Mute basketball camp. He's a Cameroonian basketball player too, and he played in the league. So that was like my first like introduction to basketball. And then I went to Basketball Without Borders. Like there, I mean, there was so many people, like coaches from the NBA, and if I had to pinpoint an exact moment where I felt like basketball would be something, or the NBA would be something that I want to do, that was like that camp, because there were so many people, and it just felt like tangible. I think when you're from Cameroon, where I'm from, like everything feels so far away, and you have dreams and you dream about those things, but I think you don't really feel like you can touch them. And I think being around that environment, around NBA coaches, around NBA personnel, it just opened my eyes a little bit to that dream a lot better. I think for me, I would say like, and for me, that's how I feel like with a lot of things, like it starts at home, like, and yeah, my dad was just someone so incredible, and someone that just did so much, not only for me, but for so many people in the neighborhood, for so many other members of my family. And he was that pioneer that we all looked up to, and someone that we wanted to be like. And for me, I wanted to be like my dad. He was so involved in the community. Education for him was like, youth education, to be exact, was just something that he was so passionate about, just because he felt like if we can teach our youth, like they're gonna change the world forever. And I think that's where like my passion for philanthropy came. And obviously when I had the opportunity to go to the NBA and have the resources that I have, like that was something that from the bat, I was just like, man, like I have to be able to give back. I have to be able to follow my dad's footsteps, which is not only like realize his dream of having one of his sons play in the NBA, but also carrying out like that legacy of pushing education for the youth. So he's definitely the person that that inspired me, and I got that passion from, so that when I get to the NBA and I had an opportunity, after a couple of years getting my feet wet, just, starting the foundation and wanted to make a difference.
When I was doing my MBA in school after retiring from sports, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with him and actually wanting to do a youth organization around mentorship. So I was connected through the sport community to this gentleman, Ralph Lean, and I got 20 minutes of his time, which I felt very lucky to get. And I had essentially pitched him an organization, and he was like, yep, I think that this will be great. I think I'll call you back in 2 weeks and we'll see the various ways in which we can start this up, and we can, potentially get you funding. I think you'd be the perfect person to start some of this work. So after that, essentially 2 weeks later, he then called me back and he said, I know you wanted to start your own youth organization, but I have an athlete who also wants to begin his philanthropic journey. I think you'd be the perfect person to work alongside with him. And I was like, well, first of all, who's the athlete? And then he was like, Pascal Siakam, and I was like, right away, I was like, of course, I'd be honored. Our whole mission is around advancing youth education through digital technology, STEAM, life skills, and mentorship. I think we really recognize that a lot of various students learn in different ways, and we try to be at the forefront of bringing innovative solutions to classrooms across Canada and now the US, where Pascal is currently. When we started up the foundation with Pascal, we recognized that, obviously with who he is, his time is very limited. So initially when we were starting the organization, we already knew that we did not want to reinvent the wheel. There's a ton of incredible organizations on the ground that are already doing great work. So I would say one of our key principles and values is partnership and collaboration. I think that's how we first started talking as well. As we began to scale into Indiana, we really wanted to understand on the ground who is doing the work that is already incredible and who could we empower and essentially raise their stature, whether it be through resources, funding, et cetera. So that's I would say that's our biggest, value. But I think the other thing is sustainability and longevity. I think as you can see, initially Pascal was a Toronto Raptor. A lot of our operations was done across Canada. Now he's in Indiana. So what happens to the programming that happens in Canada? It stays the same and it stays intact. And we wanted to make sure that that was something that Pascal and the organization could do as he potentially travels wherever he goes in the NBA. So longevity and sustainability is really important to us because I think, with myself being a beneficiary at one point in my life when I was younger, you really feel the impact of programming that comes and goes. And we didn't want to be that organization. So that was another reason why we decided to partner with organizations on the ground who were already doing the work so that, again, if anything were to happen, so now, again, Pascal's in Indiana right now, our Data Dunkers program can continue. Our Coding for Champions program can continue. So I would say longevity, sustainability, and partnership are three key values that continue to sustain us. And now as we explore and we get to know the Indiana community as well, it's something that we will continue to do here too. I think I want to speak on our programming because I think, again, being someone that's had the pleasure of being with the foundation since inception, I think we've really grown in the past 3 to 4 years. And I think something that Pascal and I always talk about is, some of the organizations that we see, the large organizations, they've been around for, 10, 20, 30. I think I was reading on Jackie Robinson's foundation, and I think he was at his 50th anniversary about a few years ago. And it really puts things into perspective on the length of time that philanthropy really exists for. So I think our 5 programming that we have right now, our 5 programs are Coding for Champions, as I mentioned. We have a new program called Data Dunkers, which is all around bringing data science into the classroom. We're getting familiar with the U.S. landscape right now, but in Canada, it's not something that's integrated into the curriculum at all. And I think we're all very aware of the future of AI and where education is really going. So for them, especially kids in marginalized communities that don't necessarily have the resources to do extracurricular activities or be able to be in that camp after school because they can't be, they're losing out on a very, very critical skill set around understanding data. So that program is great as well. We just launched a new program last week around ed tech startups, and I think that's our ability to really try to bring innovative solutions to teachers. We hear teachers loud and clear on the struggle it is to create new curriculum and integrate innovative solutions in the classroom. So we really want to bring the innovative entrepreneurs to the incredible teachers that are doing incredible jobs with students and find solutions there. And then we also have Skills Academy, which is also in Cameroon. And ironically, for everybody listening, we actually don't do sport programming in the US and Canada. We really focus on education. However, obviously in Cameroon, the needs are very different. I think you heard Pascal's story on him actualizing his dream from a basketball camp. So it's really important that we do that on that side of the world. And then last but not least, Unbreakable, which is around keeping kids safe online. I think a lot of us want to scale the work that we do in technology and tech and learning all these skills, and we almost forget that we also have to keep kids safe online and really make it fun and innovative for them. So I would say we've done a lot of things, but I think being able to sustain our 5 core programs is really important, and that's pairing with incredible grantees. I see Dennis in the crowd right there right now, and scholarships and all of that. But I think really running sophisticated programming is difficult. So I would say that's a win for us for sure. Philanthropy looks so different in various different ways, whether it's through funding, through advocacy, through systems change, through programming. There's a wide variety of different ways you can do it. I think sometimes we get so streamlined on, I have to have the funding to be able to do something. I think even if you can impact one person, it's still philanthropy, it's still give back. So I think, in whatever way you feel passionate about helping, start small. And as you continue to, make progress in the areas that you want to, I think then you can think about the various avenues that you can go, whether it's starting your own foundation or utilizing your platform or, volunteering with an organization. So I'll say
the main mission is still Cameroon, where I'm from. This is dear to my heart. It's where I grew up is why I'm who I am, and I've always tried to continue to have that support. And so one of our goals in the foundation is to build a school in Cameroon, and that's, I'll say, probably our biggest goal right now.
Yeah. I think another thing that I'll add is a lot of the programming. How we've constructed our programming, all of those resources at least have some sort of tie back to Cameroon, whether that's through technology, whether that's through coding curriculum, whether that's through understanding teachers and doing a bit of community listening there. But I'd have to second Pascal on that. I think our vision on the school is to build something that's never been built in Douala. And I think with us having a very technological and digital focus, hopefully being one of the first, technology schools that we have in Douala. So if anybody wants to be a part of that,